Good morning. This will be my last Bluebell video, certainly of this season, possibly forever. I finally made the decision to come down south. I just can't find the woodlands that I want to make, or the woodlands I need to make the images that I want where I live. I know there's places further north, but I don't know them. And because of my job and my limited time doing this, I don't have a lot of time to go out scouting. Scouting means spending money on fuel, and there's also a finite amount of money. So I'm in Docky Wood. It's about 2.5 hours from home. I'd hoped that we would have a little bit of mist because the humidity was quite high this morning, but there isn't. But I'll tell you what, it's lovely. The bird song is amazing. The sun has risen and is coming in over there, I believe. Whether we're going to get any shafts of light or not, I don't know. Do excuse me if I sound a bit wheezy. I've got a chest infection or a chest cold, I'm not sure which. I'm not feeling particularly brilliant. I was going to come down last night, but I decided if I woke up and felt dire, then I wouldn't want to come out and do photography, so I thought I'd stay in bed at home and set the alarm clock for a really stupid clock. It was 2:30 this morning. And if I felt okay, then I'd head off down here. Where you park, there's a woodland behind the car park, and that looks interesting simply because it seems to be full of oak trees, whereas these are beech. Yeah, these are beech trees. They're not silver birch, these are beech. So I'm going to just crack on and do a little bit of photography, and then I will catch up with you and let you know what we've done. I've seen a couple of scenes here that I think have worked. I've tried portrait and landscape. I like the idea of the landscape format image, but I have an upright tree and it's a dead one, and at the bottom is a sapling. I need to get a little bit of separation between the sapling and the upright, which I can do in portrait orientation. The minute I go landscape, there's a sapling here and the leaves are just encroaching. To get rid of those leaves, I have to go here, and then this sapling encroaches over the tree in the background. Not what I want. The sun is actually coming up over there. There's a bit of cloud cover this morning, so I'm not getting any rays of light coming in. I think it will happen, but the sun needs to get a little bit higher, probably another hour or so. Excuse me, maybe half an hour. There's another photographer here now, so I'm talking a little bit quietly. I don't want to disturb people. I think there was some guys car camping when I pulled in, and I think it might be them. Setup wise, I've got the 70-200 on it. I've got vibration reduction turned off because I'm on the tripod. I'm shooting between f3.5 and is it f6.8? No, it's not that one. f6.3. And I'm ISO 400 simply because there is a breeze, and that's moving the trees and the branches, which I'm trying to reduce that movement. I'm not too worried about ISO 400, I can cope with that. So, nothing startling as yet, but it scratched an itch. Yes, I think I'm going to get that wrong. Itching scratch. Scratched an itch. I was determined to come to somewhere like this. Excuse me, I have just seen another image. I'm probably a little bit close to you guys now. to see if it's me being incapable of shooting bluebells, or if I'm just not in the right type of environs, the right type of woodland for the images that I have in my head. And it could well be me, and I'm quite open to admitting that. That I thought would make an image, but it doesn't, unless I do it that way. I'm shooting out of the woodland. There's a big open area at the back of the woodland. That actually works, doing it portrait. Yes, I'm quite happy to admit that it's me being a complete muppet, not being able to get my head round shooting bluebells, getting the type of image that I'd like, that I have this preconceived idea of. Yeah, it's too exposed. It's quite difficult when you're shooting a really bright patch at the back of the scene and everything else is in darkness to get that nice balance. I can pull a certain amount of highlights back in post, but I don't want to be pulling too much. Don't think I like that after all that. But yes, I needed to do this to get it out of my system and to satisfy myself. And at the moment, numpty me is winning because I know there are some good images here. I'm just going to continue wandering around and eventually I'll find something. Hopefully. Right, this is probably the first image that's grabbed me enough to talk to you about it. Now, I'm not convinced you're going to see what I'm talking about, so we'll try. I'm just going to fix focus. I've got a horizontal line of green with a couple of branches, sticking out at the end. Then I have these two uprights, and we have the leaves and the branches hanging over, and we've got bluebells here and in the background leading off into the distance. I popped the polarizer on to try and bring the colour out, and on the left hand tree, that one, there is just a little bit of light coming through. It is very subtle. I'm just having a play with the polarizer to see. I'm going to turn that off. I say it doesn't look much, but there is definitely a smidgen of light coming through. Why has it done that to Muppet? F5 and 1/5 of a second. We are on ISO 400, as I said. I'm just checking to make sure we're focused. I think we are. As I say, I was playing with the polarizer to see how much difference, if any, it's actually making to the colours. And I'm really struggling to see any difference at the moment. But we're going to try. So yes, that's the first image I've seen. I've taken a few, but that's the first image I've seen where I thought, oh, actually, yeah, like that. There's enough background to not let too much light, so I don't have too many highlights coming through. And there's, as I say, it's barely discernible, but there is a little bit of light catching on that trunk. And the interesting thing is, the other photographers have gone. So whether they've decided this isn't the place to be today, I don't know. But as I've taken 2.5 hours to get here, I'm going to have a good wander around. And because we're overcast, we're not going to get any really strong highlights, which I'm quite pleased with. So, yes, like that one. Good start. Things can only get better. we've had this last week temperatures hovering around 20 to 23 degrees. It's now about 10 and it feels bitter. I've just got a t-shirt on and my fleece and I'm like, geez, I need to go back to the car and get warmed up. Anyway, I'm still moseying around, having a great time, just looking and playing and trying things. I think I've got a couple of images that I like. There's a photographer in a red coat loitering around somewhere. And as I walked past him, he'd got a grad filter out. I thought, what are you doing with a grad filter in here? And then I sussed it. He's shooting into the light, trying to expose for the bluebells and control the light coming towards him. And I'd love to do that sort of image, but I'm rubbish at it. So I'm being really boring and unoriginal. These pathways are fabulous. They're not straight. National Trust could have been really boring and done lots of straight roads or straight avenues like Milton Keynes. But they didn't. They put a wiggle on. And it makes for a lovely leading line. And you've got a swathe of blue down either side, beautiful beech tree trunks, and the green of the leaves just draped over it. It's fabulous. I've done a couple, and I think they work really well. I'm stuck on the 70 to 200. I can't take it off, but I do like that. I'm trying the polarizer on and off. Not convinced it's making a huge amount of difference. Maybe it's because the sun is hidden, so you can't really tell which direction the light's coming from. But yeah, I mean, even with this, I confess, because the breeze is picking up, I've upped the ISO to 1250, which is giving me a little bit of a twitch. I'm at f4, I'm at a 20th of a second. I've got the path on the right hand side and there's a lovely wiggle in it, which I absolutely love. Now I have got the colour balance set quite high. I've got it set at 7300 because it's quite cold in the woods. Yeah, if I drop it down to nearer daylight, it just takes on a bit of a blue tinge, but we'll see. And because the trees are tall and we have a narrow path, the temptation is to shoot portrait orientation, which does actually work. Let's tilt that up slightly more to get the avenue of trees in. And I'd like to shoot at a faster shutter speed, but that would mean upping the ISO even more. Yeah, I'm not really sure which one of those works best. Let me just warm that up a little bit. Normally the leaf polarizer warms the scene up slightly. Maybe I've got it switched off at the moment. Yeah, so there's no award-winning images. There's nothing startling or fantastic, but it's fun. I was actually really excited to come down here today because it's somewhere I've never been, because it is a honeypot type location, but because it's woodland and I am not a woodland photographer in any way, shape or form, I'm still having to work for images. And even while I'm stood here rattling away at you, I'm still looking. I saw what I thought was an image there. We have a branch, really heavily laden branch that's reaching down to the floor, and then a swathe of bluebells behind, beech trees leading out on the left. I thought, oh, maybe that will work. It doesn't, or I don't think it does. But if you don't try, you don't know. The side of my left-hand side, so your right-hand side as you're looking at me, that's more brambles and nettles. There are bluebells there, but they've been taken over. No, I seem to recall they were doing something, felling them back or something like that, and it was allowing the brambles to come through more, but they will die off eventually. And you can see the original footpaths that were weaving in and out of the bluebells, and you can fully understand why the National Trust has done this, to protect them. So yeah, it's good fun, it is. Even if it is big and freezing. And I wish I put my other coat on. right, I'm going to carry on wandering. There's quite a big woodland to wander around. Yeah. All is not lost. I'm quite enjoying this. I had hoped we would get a little bit of light breaking through, but the bank of cloud has now come in even thicker, so I don't think the sun's going to break through. But there's lots of ambient light that's been reflected off the greenery in here, so it's not all bad. So that's it for now. I'm pleased with the images, a couple of them. Again, fog would have just, or even a little bit of mist, would have just helped set it off. But definitely well worth the try. So before everybody and their mother invades, I'm going to disappear off. You have a good couple of weeks, and I'll catch you soon. Toodaloo!